senses me how they write about you. This is the New York Times, and this is not the op-ed page. Okay, if it was the op-ed page, I get it. In chat with Musk, Kennedy pushes right-wing ideas and misinformation. Right away, I'm pissed off because misinformation. Okay, how about you're the newspaper? Just tell me what he said, and I'll decide what's misinformation. This arrogance of, we know what the misinformation is about science. I read an article in the New York Times, so you know it must be true.
Mr. Kennedy, one of the biggest controversies surrounding your candidacy is your stance on childhood vaccines. Nearly every scientific and medical organization, including the CDC, the FDA, the AMA, the American Academy of Pediatrics, all say you're wrong on this issue. This leads us to our very first question from our audience. It's Dr. Tariq Butt, who specializes...
I would ask you one thing. On what issue?
On childhood vaccines.
What about them?
And whether they ever cause autism or damage kids. They all say these vaccines have saved millions of lives.
They never damage kids.
I don't think anybody has said they never have. There might be a child here, but overall, all those organizations say vaccines are safe and have saved millions and millions of lives. But let's get to our audience.
Look, if you're going to make this campaign happen, the one thing that they're never going to stop talking about is vaccines. And
your vaccine stance is dangerous to the health and well-being of millions. Medical experts are deeply concerned about your message. How can we help you to come to the side of science?
What was the question? How can you help me come to my senses?
No.
Side
of science.
You are a very smart person.
Okay, so, I think most people don't know what my stance is on vaccines. I've never been anti-vaccine. And I've said that hundreds and hundreds of times, but it doesn't matter.
And then where I think we are not on the same page is, I don't believe all vaccines are bad. There are some vaccines I would want if I thought the pathogen was serious enough.
And what do you think I think? In terms of the regular vaccine schedule, CDC had been telling people for many, many years that injuries were 1 in a million. CDC recognized, the reason the Vaccine Act was passed that gave immunity from liability to these companies is because they said the vaccines could not be produced, that they were unavoidably unsafe. And that phrase is in the 1986 statute, and it's in the Supreme Court Brucewitz case, which upheld that statute. They said, okay, we're going to give them immunity from liability no matter how negligent they are, no matter how grievous your injury, no matter how reckless the behavior, no matter how shoddy their manufacturing and testing processes. You can't sue them. And the reason we gave them that liability shield is because they were able to convince the Reagan White House that vaccines could not be made safe. They're going to injure certain people. The question then is, are those rare injuries? And CDC says, yes, they were very rare, 1 in a million. But when CDC finally studied that question in a study called the Lazarus study, which was published in Pediatrics, I think it was Pediatrics in 2010, and anybody can look this up. What they found is that the actual rate of injury was about, I think, 2.3%, which is 1 out of every 37 people. I think virtually every American would agree with my stance on vaccines, which is that vaccines should be tested like other medicines. They should be safety tested. And unfortunately, the vaccines are not safety tested. They're not, of the 72 vaccine doses now mandated, essentially mandated, they're recommended, but they're really mandated for American children. None of them, not one, has ever been subject to a pre-licensing placebo-controlled trial.
Yes, they have.
No.
Yes, they have.
Okay, let me just say something. Dr. Fauci and many other people for many years said this, that Bobby Kennedy, when he says that, is wrong. So I met with Dr. Fauci in 2016, and I agreed to go on Trump's Vaccine Safety Commission, and I was with Aaron Siri and Lynn Redwood and a number of other people, and we said to him, can you show us one test from any vaccine, pre-licensing safety test? And he said, I'll send it to you. I can't find one now. He never did. So we sued him. We sued, Aaron Siri and I sued HHS. And after a year of litigation and stonewalling, they said that they could not provide a single safety study for any vaccine that is on the childhood schedule, pre-licensing safety study. So anybody who wants to read that can go to the Children's Health Defense website, and you can read HHS's admission that not a single one has ever been safety tested pre-licensing. Now, what I've said is other medicines are required to do that. And we should have to do that for vaccines. If I'm wrong, show me the test, show me the study. You won't be able to, because there are none. That means that we don't know what the long-term risks are, the risk profile of those products. And we need to keep an eye on them. We can't just trust them. If they say it's a vaccine, we all trust it. We need to have actual science on it. And I think that's all I say. I don't want to get rid of vaccines. If you want to take a vaccine, you should be able to do it. We need good science, and that's all I've asked for.